Hi, Peter Boyles, and of course we have named this series here at 710 KNUS and YouTube, The Shoot. Why? Because it's a professional wrestling term for real. This is a shoot that's a shoot. I don't know how to begin. How do we begin?
Ask him, Ralph.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there is very few people that when I came out of the chair, and it was kind of a bittersweet reunion for Buck Scott. He and his wife Cindy had owned the Colorado Mine Company for years, and I'm a young kid breaking into the business, and I always marked for pro wrestling, and I managed to get myself a job working in the ring and doing some wrestling stuff, and I meet this man. And how many years did you play pro football, first of all?
9 years in the NFL.
And then, of course, the one, the only, and it is really, as we always said, they called him the Herculoid.
Herculoid Boyd.
Then you were Thunder Mountain.
Actually, they were trying to give me the Rocky Mountain Thunder thing to tie in with the fans.
And then, of course, the one, the only, Greg Boyd. And I get to say this before it all begins. There was a place, and it was Cass Hessen. What was the name of the farm that Vern had?
It was Brad Rangan's wrestling studio farm.
But they called it was at a place called like Cass Hessen or some name like that.
It was Hamill, Minnesota.
There you go.
It was Hamill, Minnesota. And when you walk outside, it's grape fields. Long, long roads, dirt roads, and grape fields. Oh, my goodness.
Ric Flair walked out.
It was rough. You know, Brad Rangan, he could go. He could wrestle, man.
Very few people, I mean, everybody, because as we got ready, everybody kind of walking through the radio station this morning. Of course, I remember when you played for the Broncos, you played for the Broncos. But you also played for, who else?
I was drafted to New England
out
of San Diego State.
All right.
And gave 4 years in New England. And then Red Miller was the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach.
Wow.
And he was the one that came to San Diego State and recruited me and was watching me. And then when I look over there, he acted like he wasn't. Red Miller was great. He was great.
Moving ahead with Red.
Yeah, that's how I ended up here. So when he heard that I had left New England and didn't sign the option, he called me and he goes, now, Greg, can't promise you anything, but listen, we've got a good thing going up here. I want you to come up here and I want you to wow these coaches and show them what you can do. He said, but we ain't going to promise you. And so I flew up here. It was it was December. Wow. It was the snowstorm, 1979.
Wow.
It was a snowstorm. And I mean, it was like so bad that they didn't have anywhere for me to run indoor at 058th. So they got Rusty Nail.
Oh, yeah.
You remember Rusty Nail?
Of course.
So they got Rusty Nail in a Mustang, John Beat, and me, and two other small guys.
I still see John all the time.
And we got in the car, and they took me over to the Colorado School of Mines. In the snowstorm. I mean, it was snow up that high. It was unbelievable. So I go over there, and John Beat and the other guy times us, and I ran 2:47s.
Wow.
Weighed in at 282. And he said, well, you've been doing some running, you know. Well, I was living in California. I have to do something, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I remember I would see you running the trail. We ran the trail together.
Yes. Yes.
And I remember you were always out running.
Always trying to get in shape and stay in shape. Because the thing about linemen, you can get swole up so quick from eating and not being active. But I ran and I learned that, hey man, might not always run sprints, but I can run distance, and that helped me burn a lot of calories. Yeah.
When you had, how many years in the league? How many years in the NFL?
9 years in the NFL, but then another 19 years working for the NFL as an attaché to the Denver Broncos. I was their uniform inspection guy.
All right.
So I inspected the uniforms. I did a PowerPoint presentation to the team a couple times a year. At that time, Mike Shanahan was the coach.
Sure.
And thank God for Mike. I love Mike. And he just made it great. He was great.
Who brought you into pro wrestling?
Interesting. His name is Kevin Savage. We called him Captain Savage, and he's a minister now. You know, actually he was a minister back then, but he just wanted to do something with his big old self. 6'9". I got a picture on my phone of him and me and him standing together. 6'9", probably about 440 pounds back then. And he went to the farm. Me and him went to the farm together with Leon. And so Colorado was well represented over there in Hamill with Brad Ringans. But he's the one that talked me into it, actually. He said, hey, Kevin, we're at the gym, an old Gold's gym, and he said, hey, Vern Gagne is going to have Otto Wanz in town.
The German.
Big,
and you ended up, by the way,
Austrian,
Austrian. I'm sorry, you ended up there.
Yes, that's why I signed my contract. Right. That's why I was over there so long. Yeah. And Big Otto, I ended up meeting him there, and Kevin, you know, big giant guy, so you know he was taller and bigger than me too. So he met Kevin and all that, and so we were in the dressing room. You don't get to go in the dressing room, you know. And he says, "Hey, Snooker's got a heavyweight championship tag team match, and his partner missed the plane in New York. Hey, can you take off that?"
This is your this is your first match.
First match ever.
Had you been to the farm yet?
Yeah. Let me think about it. Oh, yes, I had been to the farm.
So you've been through training.
I had been through training, so I knew something, but I hadn't wrestled in Denver. That's what I meant to tell you, is that it was my first match in Denver.
You know, I was the ring guy that night.
Yes, yes.
I did the ring. I remember this really. I mean, I watched this happen.
And I was in there. I had my mink fur coat on. I had on my white jeans and white shoes. And they said, "Look, take those shoes off and take off that mink coat, and man, and you go out there with Snooker, you know, and Snooker will tell you what he's going to do and how he wants you to participate." And sure enough, we went out there.
Who were you against that night?
Colonel De Beers and Bad Rad somebody, and they were using the racial thing with South Africa.
Well, he played like
De Beers, South Africa, the Diamond people.
He played like he was a South African colonel, had the hat.
Yes, yes, he had to march around like a Nazi guy.
Yeah, no,
it was funnier than hell. It was.
Fans,
they were going crazy. They were going crazy. And so they had a thing where Superfly went off the top rope, and I bounced him on top of De Beers. 1, 2, 3. It was over. You know, broke a little bit of a sweat, but you know, we back in the locker room laughing. You know, quick. I mean, it was probably 7 minutes, maybe.
Sure, maybe.
You know, and it was just big fanfare. So, you know, after that, I was on tour.
You're over.
Yeah, and Big Otto go, "Hey, that's pretty good. You take the mink off and you wrestle. You come to Europe, huh? You know, we get the contract, we make a deal."
Can we talk about Jimmy Snuka?
Oh my God,
Superfly.
Oh, Superfly Snuka. He's like this, Pete. "Hey, brother, you keep in that gym. You can't stay in the gym. You'll be the greatest thing to ever come out of the jungle. And you whoop them and you beat them and you flex up on them. Hey. You work a big move. He said, get your big finish worked up. And bam, you know, he said, and I was like, okay. So we went to Las Vegas after our tour, the first tour, and Snuka, he went off the top rope. Yes,
watch Jimmy fly.
He put him up there, and he flew off, but somebody grabbed his foot, and he hit the tables where the announcers are, because you used to be at those tables.
Sure.
He hit the tables, blood everywhere. Now, we had finished our match, and we were back in the room. Scott Hall, Kurt Hennig, Larry the Axe, we were all in there in the room. Girls everywhere.
Sure.
You know, and Snuka, like late, 11 o'clock, he comes stumbling in there. He's got on a hospital gown, blood, little bit stitches, and the girls, "Oh, Jimmy," you know. And he was going, "Hey, hey, you brothers abandoned me. Nobody came to the hospital to check on Jimmy," you know. Hey. And everybody was scared because he's crazy. He's crazy, you know.
We were talking, of course, Greg Boyd.
I love that dude.
And there were guys, and they called it the gas.
Yes.
And it was steroids.
Anabolica.
Shoot them.
So many guys was anabolic.
What killed them? And I've told you this story. This is not out of school, but
I know.
It was Superstar Billy.
Yes.
And my mentor was Bobby Heenan, who I just tell so many Heenan stories.
Yeah.
But Heenan told me, stay away from him.
Because Snooker, bless his heart.
And Superstar Billy.
Billy
Graham.
Yes.
And Jimmy. Stay away
Because
from
see, some guys, they get on the anabolics and they become more of what they normally are. You know, like if you are a mean guy, it brings that out tenfold. If you know, if you're a pretty decent guy, you know, it'll bring out some, like, cause you're angry and tense all the time. You know, I mean, some guys just were, I don't know what it was. They were just mad about the circumstances or whatever. And boy, between Graham and Billy Superfries, man, you'd be walking around eggshells. Leon, he would fight them all.
Oh.
Leon was fighting everybody.
Because we haven't got to leave.
I know.
On the level, they ever come to you and offer you to shoot the gas?
No, I'll tell you the truth. Right. When I was first in the NFL, right, and my third year at New England, I not sprained, but I fractured my left ankle, and so it became chronic. Yeah. Oh, just constantly. So in my third year, I missed, like, I don't know, 10 weeks or something like that, and I came back and played, 10 games or something like that, but I was halfway, right? And so in that off season, I went home and I wanted to heal, and I went to my doctor, and he prescribed me an anabolic regimen where I could really build up my ankles and build up my legs so I'm stronger. And that's what I did. And I guess it worked because, you know, the next year I was an honorable mention All-Pro.
No,
it
works.
It did. What it does is, what I noticed about it was, it basically makes you heal faster. Yeah. Like it cuts the healing time in half. So, I mean, and really, right? I'm not manufacturing it. You're not manufacturing it. So the medical field is manufacturing it, and so they can prescribe it if they think it's going to help.
The juice.
Yeah, they'll prescribe it because somebody's making it and storing it somewhere.
Remember, they went through the whole scandal in New York and the Hogan stuff.
Remember all that?
Oh, I talked to a guy one time about it. He said, you shoot it in your arm. Or in your rear end, or
you put it in your hip, or in your quad.
And the guy said, but your heart's a muscle. He said, as that builds this up or builds this up, he said, it's also working on your heart.
Yes. And see, that's a good point, because if you've been paying attention the last, maybe 20 years, yes, we've had all these young guys, right? 29, 30, 35 years old. They just fall over dead from anabolics. They say, all of them are bodybuilders and all of them are anabolic, and that's what they all were involved in. I mean, some guys lived here in New York, and other guys were in California, and they never got fat or anything. No. They were looking really good, but they fell over.
What was it like to go to the farm?
Oh my God! Well, I didn't know what to expect.
I've heard stories about the farm.
I didn't know what to expect. I met Brad Ringans. I had met Vern Gagne first here at the Coliseum, and he got us signed up to go to Brad Ringans' camp, and it was Vern Gagne's camp, but Brad ran it, and he basically
who was in the group when you came in?
Yeah, when I went, it was Kevin Savage, Leon White, Greg Boyd, and Jerry America, and it was four of us there, but we had Billy Robinson came in. Yeah. Woo, what a shooter he was!
He's a shooter. Yeah,
he's a shooter. Yeah. And then Rob, oh my goodness,
one of the Steiner brothers.
Yes, Rob Steiner.
Steiners. Yeah.
So he has a younger brother that became big time.
That became the Frog.
And Rob was really good.
Yeah,
Rob was really good, and so they came in and trained us. They came in into Billy Robinson, Vern Gagne.
What was a day like?
Whoo, man, my God! I mean, I remember the one day they got a log, and we put a log up on our shoulder, and like I said, when you walked out the door, it was a dirt road and grape fields, and you know, that kind of, you were out there, right?
There we go.
In Hamill, Minnesota. And you put the log up on your shoulder, and there's 4 guys, and you just take off.
Running.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, the last guy in the line has to run up and take the log from the guy that's leading. And then you're walking, running. It was too big, man. We couldn't run much with that log on our shoulder, but that was part of the training. And then, you know, we did the unbalancing 3-minute training where you tie up and you try to get each other off balance. Right. That was hard.
Oh.
You know, Kevin was 440 and Leon was probably 390 or 400 pounds. Jerry America, I think he was the smallest of us all. He was 299 and I was, at that time, 310. Yeah. And my goodness, you know, all that unbalancing, and then, you know, we would work to get the inside hand, lock the hands, and then suplex the guy over. You know, after about, you know, 4 or 5 of those rotations, you were gasping for air.
Sure.
Now they want to do cartwheels. Now you got to learn cartwheels.
The stories about it are just...
It was hard.
I read there was a place called the Monster Factory.
Yes.
And then there was the farm.
It was the farm.
Yeah.
And then those guys down in Georgia. There were some guys down in Georgia where Jerry Blackwell was from, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Yeah. And they had a really great wrestling camp. We talked about it, but I never went to camp there, but I heard it was really tough. Brad Ringens was good because he was an Olympic wrestler.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, you know, he would wrestle with you. Yeah. Like he would get down on the floor and then you couldn't turn him over.
No.
I couldn't believe that. I said, you know, he'd get down there, hands flat, feet like that. He's okay, turn me over. And we couldn't turn him over. I don't know, man.
You know, when people talk about pro wrestling, and I was on the fringes doing TV and the ring and stuff, and oh, it's this, it's fake, it's fixed. I said, yeah, how do you respond to that?
Well, you see, let's just say, you know, it is show business. Yeah. You're in it. You know, like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was this incredible, legendary boxer. Yeah. But, you know, and there was a lot of them. But remember, before him, there was no big showman. No. And not in boxing.
Jack Johnson, to a degree, showed. Every once in a while, like Rocky Marciano never showed, but Graziano, you know.
See what I'm saying? The majority of them just had boxing and boom, boom, boom. They was quick and people enjoyed watching it. Well, Muhammad Ali would shuffle and go to the right, go to the left, and you know, and it made it interesting.
He was knocking off Gorgeous George by his own admission.
Yes.
That he saw George.
Well, it sells tickets.
That was the story. It's in Cosell's book that he's a mild-mannered. He's Cassius Marcellus Clay. He goes to Vegas, and he's lined up to do a show.
Oh, my God.
And it's George Wagner's first.
Okay.
And George does and then he looks at and he won his fight, but he looks at the box office. Mm-hmm. Well, George is there. George strips him.
Yes.
And this is on the end of George's career, by the way.
He and excuse me for butting in, but
no, please.
Muhammad and Veronica invited me and my family over for dinner.
Oh, wow.
So we go to dinner at the Champs home there at Welton Place, right off of Wilshire Boulevard.
Oh, wow.
Big mansion, Rolls Royces, ragtops and stuff. And we come in there and, you know, Champ, I was always expecting him to just, like, be normal. Yeah. But he never was. Gravy, let me see what you can do. Let me see your jab. You done any boxing? And I said, I did a little bit of boxing. He said, what, you boxing oranges? That's the way he was, you know. He was just nonstop like that, you know. And we were sitting there, and he go, hey, go get the convertible. Pull my convertible around. This was the Corniche Rolls Royce. So they get somebody, one of his runners, go and get the car. They pull it around. He said, Gregory, come on, go with me. Let's go roll. So me and the Champ left everybody at dinner, and we're cruising down Wilshire, and you get over on Sunset. We're going down Sunset on our way to the candy store. Is what the club was called. Yeah. And now
that was shotguns.
No, it wasn't. You know, it was a dance club, but he wouldn't dance. He would just sit back and lean on the bar and drink water. He wouldn't dance. He wouldn't drink alcohol.
He didn't drink alcohol. No, he didn't drink. No,
didn't touch any alcohol. Yeah. And he wanted to say, let me see your feet. Let me see what you can do. You know, I'm out there dancing. And while we were on our way there, we were sitting in this ragtop Corniche Rolls Royce, and the people would pull up next to it and they go, hey, champ. And then all these paper airplanes come flying into the car. And it's these numbers on there. Emily, call me.
Oh, yeah.
Sherry, call me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Sure. And he just looked at me and laughed and took off. Man, he was a trip, but he was fun.
One of a kind.
He was one of a kind.
Yeah, no.
One of a kind. I'll never forget that. That was one of the highlights of my life.
No, I met him
Yeah.
a handshake. What struck me is how big he was.
He's a big dude. I noticed that too. He a big dude.
I was used to prize fighters.
Yes,
I met Joe
they were
Louis.
smaller.
I mean, Joe Louis was not a big man.
He wasn't a big giant man.
No.
He was not a big giant man. What was Joe? Maybe 6'2"?
If.
Maybe 6'2"?
But-
Probably 200 maybe?
Yeah, maybe at the heights. But Muhammad, I met Muhammad.
6'3", almost
And
6'4".
I was like, and
He's a big
he
dude.
was a really big
And
man.
quick. He had unbelievable hands and feet. He was an athlete.
Stayed too long.
Yeah, he did. He hung around.
Stayed too
He
long.
hung around too long, and all that hard work that you do, if you stop doing it, it's going to affect you somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep doing something.
But going back in professional football,
Yes,
who was, and people talk about somebody being a Barney badass.
right.
Who was the guys you look at and say they were hard cases? Because here you are being who you are, but
Conrad Dobler.
there you, oh my heavens, I do remember that.
Conrad Dobler
Oh,
was
my.
this. And when I ran into him, it was at the end of his career, and he was playing for the Buffalo Bills. But they'd been around to several teams. Started out with the St. Louis Cardinals,
Yeah.
and he'd punch you in the stomach the whole time. You know, you're pass rushing on him, and he'd grab you and punch you in the stomach. Boom, boom. And he'd punch Larry Evans in the stomach. Larry stopped playing football and started fighting. And they was, and the announcers was cracking up. The analysts, they were cracking up. Well, that's quite a contest between Boyd and Dobler. Boyd is getting the best of him. He knocked him down, and he grabbed your foot. That guy was crazy. He was a crazy dude.
Keyworth told me his rookie year, it was a strike year and a bunch of, then they came back the next year, and Butkus is on his way out. And he talked about Butkus. And he said Butkus hit him and then put his face mask on Keyworth's face
Yes.
mask and spit.
I'm telling you, it was crazy. And as a rookie, you know, I'm with New England, right? And I'm trying to show, right? I'm showing up. I can run, I can bench press. Man, I had my hand down there, getting ready to pass rush, and they just spit that Copenhagen right on my hand. Flying, I jumped all off sides. Yeah,
Now,
you know.
jumping that to pro wrestling, who was the guy?
After pro wrestling?
Yeah, in terms of the guy that in the ring was.
Oh,
there's
my
stories about
goodness.
shooters. That's
Oh,
what we-
my goodness.
Yeah, who was the
Oh, my goodness. Well, Billy Robinson.
Billy?
Robinson was a great shooter.
Yeah.
Woo, boy. Quick, too. Vern had some shoot in him.
Vern was a shooter.
Vern had some shoot in him, too. And then when I went to Europe, let me see, what was his name?
Come back to explain shooting.
Yes,
I say
yes,
it all
yes,
the time.
yes.
You knew there were, here's from what I watched. Every company had an enforcer. Is that fair enough? And
It's true.
And the enforcer was a shooter.
Yes.
Tell the story.
So over in Europe, I'm in Europe, there's this guy that come to all the wrestling matches. It's fake, it ain't worth a damn. You guys are a bunch of phonies from way back and stuff. So there's a guy named Charlie Verhoes from Belgium. Ball head, kind of hands was like Billy's. Billy's hands was like that.
Yeah.
Charlie had a meeting with this guy in the ring after, actually it was before the matches. And this guy, he got in there and he said what he could do and all that stuff. And Charlie got him in there and got him in one of those holes. And the guy shit himself.
Oh, sure.
He squeezed him. He squeezed him so hard.
Yep.
The guy pooped himself. And then he jumped out of the ring and he ran all up in the stands. And Charlie was, it's not gonna get him, you know. He didn't catch him because they got the guards to hold Charlie and get the guy out of there. But the guy messed his pants. That's how hard he squeezed that guy. Charlie was tremendous.
Oh.
He was tremendous. But there was a lot of good guys that really knew how to get and break your arm. I mean, those Japanese boys, they were rough, boy.
Oh, they were hard style in
They
Japan.
were hard style.
Yeah.
You know, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Unafraid.
Yeah.
Just totally unafraid. And I wrestled them in Europe. I negotiated with Japan, New Japan, but I didn't get the contract and go over there. Came back here. I wrestled Iron Sheik for the title in '88.
Did you like the Sheik?
I really liked him. We had a great time.
I worked with the
Yeah, Claude. Claude was great, man. We was cruising around, boy, and
Oh, big time. Big time.
yeah, his
Big
beer, man, he's having a good time,
Big
you know.
And he was a Vern guy.
Yeah, he was a Vern guy. He
Yeah.
sure was.
Yeah, he went there.
There for a long time, he was big business with Vern.
Yeah.
You know, with the shoes with the toes that
The
curled
points.
up.
Yeah. No, he was, and he actually came in as a face when I worked.
He was a big draw
Yeah.
at first.
When
Because he had this great gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, like he looked like a
He-
Shazam or something.
He actually, I had a big talk with him a couple of times. He actually was a bodyguard for the Shah because he was a real wrestler.
He was the Olympic hopeful
There you go.
for Iran.
There you are.
Or
Absolutely.
Iran.
Yeah, Iran.
What they say.
Yeah,
and he was the heavyweight Olympic hopeful. But did it get canceled that
He
year?
escaped. He broke away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Came to the States.
And came to the States. His name's Cosgrove Vasari. Why do I remember that? But I do.
Wow.
And he came in the ring originally as Cosgrove Vasari, and he had somehow met Vern, and he had gone to the farm. That's one of the first stories I heard about the farm.
Yeah, because see, he would have known Brad Ringens because they
There
were
it is.
they were
There
big
it is.
heavyweight champions.
There it is.
You know, in his country, and then Brad here,
Yeah.
because Brad Ringens was the American heavyweight
Yes.
hopeful
Yes.
for the gold medal, and he didn't. They canceled the Olympics. that
Carter
year.
cancels the
He,
Olympics.
he
That's
canceled the Olympics.
That's right.
And so, you know, that was this. Brad Ringens trained a whole lot of guys that really never even started with Vern. They ended up going straight WWF. But I think Hulk Hogan was
He was.
AWA
He was a
at
Vern
first.
guy. He was
He
a
sure
Vern
was.
guy.
He sure was. And, you know, Vern had them going to all the little towns, Mankato and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
all those little towns around there, you know, where we would wrestle. And then we would do TV tapings
Yep.
in Las Vegas. I think it was at the Showboat.
Well, we did them
Way
here at
back
Channel 2 in the old, that's where I met you, I think, for the first time one-on-one,
Yes.
in the old bunker on Channel 2. And I'm doing
That's right.
I'm doing factory outlet commercials.
Oh my God, you had it going on. You had it going
And
on.
then I would do for Gene.
Yes.
And I remember like Stan Hansen and those guys would come.
Now Stan Hansen was another. He wasn't a shooter, but boy, he beat people up. He beat people. I had to hit him hard. You know, I was learning wrestling, and on my first tour, I was really in a battle royale, wasn't a singles match, and I'm in there, you know, and I'm
Stan
kind of
Hansen.
down there, you know, gonna get up, and he came in there and hit me in the back, and then put his boot and stomped on me. Man, I got up and hit Stan Hansen, knocked him back. I'm the lariat. I'm the lariat.
Brought it into the ring.
Yes, he did.
Brought it into the
Yes, he
ring.
did. He
Yeah, he
hit
did.
people. He beat people. A lot of people didn't want to wrestle with him. They didn't want to wrestle with Leon either.
Well, I'm coming back to
Leon beat
Leon.
up on people. I know.
I'm going to come back to Leon. But there were guys that worked stiff. They call it working
He was
stiff.
stiff.
He was stiff and it hurt you.
You know, Leon, and I know it's the
Love
we
Leon.
got so much.
Yeah.
We traveled together in Europe. You know, we went to Vern's camp together, and Leon was one of those guys that he just was a natural heel.
Oh,
He was
in real
a
life.
natural,
He was-
yes.
it was a-
He would come out of the ring. He'd come out of the ring, man.
and they brought him in as a face.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When I
didn't
first
know
met
that.
him, they put him over as a face.
Yeah, because he had like a big following here.
And he played for the Rams, and he had CU.
Yeah,
and
and
all
he's
that
at
stuff.
1980 Rams.
He was bull power.
bull power. Sure was.
They put him over
Yes,
as a face. And
yes.
and I'm in the back, and the guys are going.
No, man, he went heel because Big Otto was the big champion over there. You know, Otto was the big, round, strong, phone book tearing guy. Leon went over there, and it was a big draw. Whenever he and Otto was going to wrestle, they said, "Yeah, we're giving it away. We're giving it away, so we're going to put them in there together. You're going to go heel." Well, they tried to make me a heel.
You're not.
You know, I was a big dude. You know,
you're still not a heel.
and they said, "Okay, you know, you're going to do this and that." So I go in there, and the people wouldn't accept it.
Yeah, you're not a heel.
So I'm standing there.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm trying to look mean.
Some guys can be heels.
And this little kid comes up. I'm standing there watching the match, and a little kid comes up and he gives me some chewing gum. And all the fans are watching.
Yeah.
What is he gonna do?
Yeah.
You know.
No,
I
you're
took
not.
the gum and they clapped.
Yeah.
They popped for just taking the gum and patting the It's over. Big Otto goes, hey.
You're not a heel.
You're not a heel.
Not a
Okay,
heel.
tonight you go babyface.
Well, again,
Oh, God.
inside wrestling, there's faces and heels.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's the cornerstone to
Of all of it.
balance the two
Of all of it.
hemispheres. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. You know, and it's so much fun, right?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Inside baseball, being a heel talk show host is fun.
Because you can talk big talk.
You can
talk that big talk,
talk
man.
radio. I faced and I healed, and we talked to the old like Heenan and those guys.
Yes.
Heenan used to tell me, they don't come to see. He said they come to see me get beat.
That's right, and so they'll buy the tickets.
They'll buy the tickets.
They'll buy those
He
tickets.
said he'll sell tickets.
And that's like Muhammad Ali and these people that do the show. With
Muhammad knew.
They come to see him get beat,
That's right.
you know, and rarely did he ever, right, get beat.
And that's why they wanted to come back.
Yes, right.
Well, it's like the story when finally, and I grew up on Bruno. When Bruno
Samantino.
when Bruno loses in the garden,
Oh, wow.
grown men cry. Grown men cry in the garden because Bruno drops it.
Was there a son that came after Bruno?
His name was give me a second, and he tried and he didn't have it. I'm gonna say Danny, but that's probably not it. But he tried it.
Because I remember reading about Bruno.
Yeah.
When I
And
was
I'm a
going to
kid.
do it.
My grandma marked on Bruno, man. It was like,
Yeah, they want to see him get beat.
oh,
You know?
Bruno was everybody's face. I mean, but when and I'm trying to think who was the Russian that beat him. That wasn't a Russian, but
Oh, I know. Remember that?
yeah, he beat him in
They
the
had
garden.
those guys that were, you know, like Russian guys or
They weren't.
guys from the Middle East. and
Yeah, they weren't.
They weren't. They were from Cleveland or something.
Detroit.
They were from Detroit or
The
something
original
like
Sheik.
that.
The original
Yeah,
Sheik.
yeah. Remember that?
His
Sure
name-
was.
True story. I meet him. His name was Ed Farhart. That was his real name.
Farhart.
He had car lots in Detroit, and he broke Heenan in. Heenan loved it, and I met him, and
Yeah.
he was threw their crap in people's faces.
Sure.
And stuff. It was a great. But he said he'd cut you. He said he.
Now listen.
He
No,
cut-
listen. So Leon in Europe, he was a mean dude, man. He
Real
beat
life.
guys up.
Yeah, real life.
He beat guys up in the ring, and he beat them up more than they told him to. He'd beat them all up and throw them out of the ring, and then he would get out of the ring.
And go.
Okay, and here's the people. Now you and I are fighting in the ring, and he'd throw his guy out of the ring over there, and he would get out of the ring. Now there's all the people in chairs there, all the people in chairs, and there's the aisle over there. He'd create an aisle
Yeah.
through the people.
Oh yeah.
Just like a tidal wave, knocking people out of the way and stuff. And then he'd go back in there in the locker room and he'd beating on the door. They kill each other.
Dave
It
Logan.
was insane.
We talk about breaking kayfabe. When,
Yes.
When Leon passed,
Oh,
Dave was on the team at CU with him.
yes.
And Dave crossed the line. He came off of KOA and joined us on 710.
Oh, okay.
Breaking kayfabe, right? And so
Okay.
I said to him one time, I said, who was the toughest? And Dave Logan, who's a tough
Yeah,
guy,
Dave was a really good receiver.
And-
big receiver.
and a Barney badass in real life. And I said, who's the toughest guy you ever met? You know who he said?
Leon White.
Leon White.
Because Leon White was a good fighter.
Oh,
He was a good fighter. I mean, I was with him a lot.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of stuff happen.
yeah.
Me and him butted heads in the ring, and I had to knock him down. I didn't want him as my friend.
Yeah.
But, when he's a heel and I'm a bayface, you got to do it. He'd get excited.
Yeah,
And
Dave
he
said
would
it.
headbutt you, and he didn't put his hand there.
Dave said it. Dave said it.
Man.
He said, if you're going to go to war, you take him.
Yes, because he'll fight. He would fight.
Yeah.
He was a wild man.
Final story, because we
Okay.
could do this all
Oh,
day.
my goodness.
You're in Germany. I've heard the story.
Yes.
In the casino, they give you the money. This is a great pro
I'm so
wrestling
glad
story.
you mentioned that.
Tell that story.
Okay.
I
we're in Linz.
I don't even know
We're,
if you ever-
we're
you ever-
in Linz.
You ever told this
We're in Linz.
publicly?
No.
Okay, go.
No.
All right.
In seeing you at the memorial for Buck Scott reminded me of this. So I'm in Linz, and I had been there probably oh God, I guess I had been there about 4 or 5 weeks. So I was doing good. I was wrestling, and we had the tournament going, and then we're there, I think, either 7 or 8 weeks. And I was all in the paper, and they had me doing all this stuff and taking pictures.
They take it seriously.
They take it very seriously.
Yeah.
So I'm going and everything, and so one night I was getting ready to go out there, and before I could start out the door, these 2 casino owners, Helmut and Angelo, they come up and go, Moment. Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Tonight, the Sieger of the Hercules match, 70,000 US. And I was like, I thought it was a kayfabe.
A work.
A work. I thought it was a work for sure. So they come out and they got this, it's like pewter or silver platter with all of this money piled up on it.
U.S.
U.S.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm trying to get my match in my head and everything. So I go out there, and me and the guy that I'm wrestling against, boom, 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 and it's finished. You know me, and I'm breathing. I'm trying to catch my breath because it was going. We could do rounds,
sure.
And so I get finished, and I come out of the ring, and I'm trying to make it back to the locker room, and the announcer go, Hercules, nichts, Moment, bitte. And they come running over there, and they got that platter. Das ist für you. And I'm like, ooh, viele Geld, you know.
Lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, lots of money. And I'm too tired to carry it. But I carry it. And I'm walking back there, so I'm like, what the? I thought somebody was going to be back there like some guards and take it and go put it in one of those bank vault trucks or something. Sure. So I go back to the locker room. I know I'm whispering. I'm saying, you're supposed to talk about this. I go back to the locker room. The big Otto standing at the door. He goes, hey, Greg. He didn't even go to Hercules. Hey, Greg, give me some of that money. Yeah. So I go back there, and I'm like, I'm not even afraid. I'm not thinking about being robbed or anything. It didn't dawn on me yet, right? I'm breathing, trying to catch my breath, and I sit down, and all the boys are going, Is this for real? I said, yeah, this is for real. $70,000 piled up on it. So Big Otto comes in, give me some of that money. So I give him, 3,000, 4,000, but still looks like a lot of money. And then he goes, now you must go. You must give some to your referee, to Mick. Yeah. Remember Mick McMichael?
Oh, of course.
And your opponent, you have to give him some too. He participate. So give them maybe 3,000, 1,500 apiece. And so I still probably had 60,000 or 65,000. And I put everything in the locker. I get my shower. Now I'm realizing, hey, this is for real. So I put everything in my bag, and I got this big platter. I don't need the platter, so I put the platter out of the way, and I put everything in my bag, and I'm looking out the door. Is somebody going to try to get me? And so Big Otto has the guards at the arena come and escort me out to the limo, and I had a girl with me. And so we go. I said, well, I must go to the hotel. So I go to the hotel, and I put it all in the safety deposit box or the safe. And so Big Otto, he calls the hotel, and he's like, Greg, you must go to Helmut and Angelo's casino, and you go spread around, go around, shake hands with the people, have a good time, and put that money around, And I was like, okay. Right. So I go to the casino, and then there's Angelo, and there's Helmut, and they're standing there, go, and I'm like getting the money out of my pocket. I'm put the money in the slot, and no, Greg, no. Here, you take this. $10,000. More. Yeah. All that. Yeah. Now you put this in there. So I put money in there and all that. Woo! I couldn't believe that. And I was talking to Tony Sinclair. I know you remember Tony Sinclair. Tony was a big mentor of mine, and he goes, yeah, he said, Greg, ain't nothing happened like that ever.
Ever.
And ain't nothing happened since like that.
Yeah.
He said, man, I don't know what you got, but you got something special, you know. And we went to a club. We went to a club after where we were at the casino. Then we went to a club, and Angelo was out there dancing. And he goes, hey, Huck, let's come. I go out on the floor. We're boogieing and sliding. Everybody get back off the floor. We're dancing. And he's crazy because he goes all over the floor, you know. But it was real. It was real. Just like
that's
that.
a hell of a story. That's
crazy.
That's one of the greatest wrestling stories ever.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was real.
It was real.
It was a shoot.
It was it was a shoot for sure. Yeah. Unbelievable time.
Final moment, and we have to do this again. We got to let 6
It was
months
so
go.
much stuff to
we gotta
talk about.
because we haven't begun. I know you've been through all the concussion protocols.
Yes.
I know you get roughed up pretty good.
Yes.
What's the moment? If somebody would say to me, I don't know how to answer it, so I get to ask it.
Sure.
When you say to yourself, man, that was a hell of a moment. What was your moment?
In the NFL?
You pick.
In the NFL. Because we didn't talk much about the NFL.
No,
I know we talk shoot.
Yeah.
We're talking shoot, but I'm going to tell you, you know, when I played for Red Miller and Dan Reeves here in Denver, I don't know if you remember, but we had some big games like against Dallas here at home.
Steelers.
Against the Steelers, against the Raiders, and Dan Fouts for the Chargers, unbelievable passer, and all those Charlie Joyner and John Jefferson and all those people who could really, really catch the ball and run. So you had to get that pass rush on in order to compete a little bit, right? So, and that was in '79. They went to the playoffs against the Chargers, and I think it was that very first elimination round, the wild card, and they went up there and lost because Dan Fouts got loose on them. They couldn't get the pass rush, and then they came and got me, signed Rulon Jones or drafted Rulon Jones, and we combined to. But we had an incredible year. The very next year, how Rulon and myself, we became roommates, and how we just had that unbelievable pass rush going, you know, and I would crush the middle of it, and that made everybody, you know, worry about the inside, and then Rulon and Barney could make the big rush on the edge. Now those were, you know, I mean, you think about it, those are all linemen. Now it's all linebackers making that big rush, you know. It's different. But here's the deal. We were the #1 defense in the NFL. And I heard the announcers talk about that. But what really got me was, as I never ever seen where the Broncos acknowledged, you know, what we did, because we had this incredible pass rush. And I did hear the announcers say, oh yes, this is the development of the defensive line, and that was the bright spot in that defense, and they doubled the total from the year before. Wow, that's something to talk about, I think. But they didn't talk about it. I don't know. Maybe it didn't meet the scenario they were trying to promote, you know, but it was an incredible thing for me, you know, be on Monday Night Television against Joe Theismann in there and snatch him down, you know, for 2 or 3 sacks and whoo, so many games like that.
What a time.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was really incredible. Big game against Cleveland when Red was still the match and still the coach, and Lyle was over there with Cleveland.
There's a whole other story too.
Yeah, it's a whole other story.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to talk about. But I have to tell you, maybe the best game that I ever had in the NFL was I had been traded to Green Bay to Bart Starr, and we had a game where Green Bay went up to Minnesota up there, and I think is that Metrodome or whatever it was, and we're up there in Minnesota, and I don't know, just that day I couldn't be blocked. I don't know why. Hurdling the guys trying to chop my legs. They couldn't grab me. I must have hit Steve Dills 29 times, 30 times. 2 safeties. I don't know how many quarterback sacks we had, but it was like that. Just all over the place. And I remember the coach, I love Bart Starr. He come up to me and he goes, Greg, we're back in Green Bay after you had a great game this week. you hammered their ass. He said, you had a great game this week. What do you got for me next week? That's Bart Starr, man. He was great.
When I say that about radio, we're with you.
Yes.
Win or win.
Yes.
There's no losers, no draw.
I know.
So what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, exactly. What have you done for me lately?
This has been so special to do this, and we just kind of edged on pro football. We didn't even talk about growing up, and I know how it was.
Oh my goodness, so much stuff.
Do this. Give me maybe Thanksgiving. Come back in here.
I would love it.
And
you just say when.
And we'll do this again.
We'll say when, because I didn't even play high school football.
I know.
And then I go to junior college.
Yeah.
And we win 2 state, or actually one was a national championship, junior college. And the next year we win the state championship. Back to back. Through the discus and shot put, go to the state meet, win the conference championship. First, I never threw it before. It ain't just me. God is involved in this.
I love you.
God is involved in this.
What you did.
Thanks, brother.
Oh,
Thank you.
man, thank you. And
Thank
for
you,
everybody,
brother.
we'll promote this, but tell people, especially, it's just fans of stuff, and the one thing that I know a little bit about is pro wrestling, and he survived one in 1,000 can survive, and he did well. Mark Crowley, thank you. The one and only Greg Boyd. We'll do a Thanksgiving show with this man. There's somebody else I want to put in this room, but let's see if I can do it, to do like a 3.
Absolutely.
Take care of yourselves, everybody. Thank you so much. And tell everybody to watch the shoot. Thanks.